Hi everyone, I'm Sujani, faculty in physics at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today we are going to see a demonstration to study the VI characteristics, that is the voltage versus current characteristics of a given light emitting diode. This is the brief outline of the experiment, the aim, apparatus, the theory, principle as well as the formula, circuit diagram, procedure, observation table, calculations, model graph and the result. These are the things which you have to keep in mind before you start the experiment. Now, the aim is to study the VI characteristics, the voltage versus current characteristics of a light emitting diode. And also we find the threshold voltage and the forward resistance. So by studying the characteristics and observing the readings, you can find out the threshold voltage and also calculate the forward resistance for a given LED. Now the apparatus required is a light emitting diode, a 0 to 12 volt variable supply. So this is the variable supply. So whenever we see this arrow mark on this symbol for the power supply, it means it's a variable power supply, 0 to 12 volt. Then we have an voltmeter, which is of the range 0 to 10 volt, and an ammeter. Here we are seeing a milliammeter. Why milliammeter? Because the current is very small here. So we use a milliammeter. 0 to 50 milliampere DC ammeter. So this is a circuit we are going to use. Now, what is the theory behind this? In a PN junction, the charge carrier recombination takes place when electrons from the N layer pass on to the P layer. We have electrons on the N side and holes on the P side. When the electrons from the N side try to cross over the junction and go on to the P side, then there will be a recombination of the charges. The electrons and the holes will recombine. The electrons are in the conduction band on the N side, whereas the holes are in the valence band on the P side. And generally, if you see, the conduction band has a higher energy level compared to the valence band. So when electrons recombine with the hole, electrons from the N side, when they come and recombine with the hole on the P side, some difference of energy, because the conduction band is at a higher level, electrons at a higher level, so they will emit energy. The difference in energy is given out in the form of heat or light, depending upon the diode we are using. Now, in case of silicon or germanium, these are the two semiconductors which we generally talk about. The energy dissipation is in the form of heat. Whereas, in case of gallium arsenide and gallium phosphide, it is in the form of light. And that too, this light is in the visible region, so that when light flows and when a LED glows, you will be able to see it, because the light that is emitted is in the visible region. That is why you need to understand why we are using a gallium arsenide or a gallium phosphide LED instead of a silicon or a germanium LED. So what we understand is germanium and silicon, which have energy gap of about 1 electron volt, 1.1 for silicon and 0.8 electron volt for germanium. So it is of the order of 1 electron volt, we say, cannot be used by the manufacturers. So what they use gallium arsenide or gallium phosphide, which emits light in the visible region. So these are used by the manufacturers to make LEDs. So we are using one such LED in the lab to study the characteristics of a given LED. Now let us understand the circuit diagram. Here we will be using a trainer kit, a kit which consists of all these components. All these components are inbuilt in the trainer kit. We only have to do the external connections. So how do we do the connections? We have a variable supply which is inbuilt. We have to just give the output to the input of the circuit here. And then we have a potentiometer there to vary, because we said it's a variable supply. So we have a potentiometer where we can vary the voltage and this is the resistance. We also have an option here to vary the resistance. We can adjust the resistance in the circuit, say 1K or 2K ohm, 2 kilo ohm and so on. Then we have a milliammeter to measure the current. So the milliammeter is connected in series in the circuit because whenever we connect an ammeter, it is in series. Then we have an LED. So if you see, this is a symbol for LED. When you see an LED, you need to know what is the symbol. Generally, we write the symbol like this. Here, this denotes the positive and this denotes the negative. And these arrows denote that the light is being emitted. So here you see the arrows outward. So this is the symbol for LED. And when you are connecting it, it is also important to observe that we are going to connect it in the forward bias. What are we doing? We are doing the forward biasing. Why biasing is required? We have two types of bias. One is forward bias and the other is reverse bias. In forward bias, we connect the positive of the power supply to the positive of the LED. So I said this is positive and this is negative. So when we do this, what happens here is the charges, the electrons on the inside and the holes on the P side will get the energy to cross across the junction. They are pushed across the junction because of the forward bias, so that this recombination of charges can take place. So we have an LED which is connected in the forward bias. Then there is an voltmeter to measure the voltage, and voltmeter is always connected across the LED. So we always connect it in parallel in a circuit. Let us now see the demo of how to study the VI characteristics, voltage versus current characteristics of a given light emitting diode. Let us see the apparatus that is required. We have the power supply, 0 to 10 volt DC supply, light emitting diode, a voltmeter, ammeter and resistances of different values. And we also use this kit where all the components are connected internally and we only have to do the external connections. And let us connect it as per the circuit diagram given. Let us understand the circuit first. We have a supply, variable power supply. The arrow denotes it is variable. 0 to 10 volt, variable supply. The positive of the power supply is connected to the resistance. And the resistance other end is connected to the positive of the milliammeter. Ammeter is used to measure the current in a circuit. And here we use a milliammeter because the current is very small. The negative of the milliammeter is connected to the voltmeter, positive of the voltmeter, and the negative is connected to the negative of the power supply. And across the voltmeter, parallel to it, we place the LED with positive to positive and negative to negative. This is what we call as a forward bias. When the positive of the power supply is connected to the positive of the LED, we say the diode is forward biased. So now let us see how we connect the circuit. You can see the same circuit here on this board. This is the power supply, this is the position of the resistance, position of the ammeter, the voltmeter, and then we have LEDs. Here we have a provision to use different color LEDs, we can choose. So for now we will be using the red LED, and also we have different resistances of 1K, 2K2, 3K3 and so on. We can choose the required resistance. And also we need some connecting wires to connect. So let us start from the power supply. So as given in the circuit diagram, so we will connect from the positive to the positive of the power supply here. Negative to the negative, means the output from here is given as input here, and this is the position for the resistance. Now we connect a 1 kilo ohm, 1K resistance here. The output from here is given as input here. So we are taking this resistance 1K into the circuit. So we have got the resistance here. Now we will connect the ammeter. As told, we will use a milliammeter of the range 20 milliamp. So the positive of the milliammeter is connected to the positive and the negative is connected to negative. We will connect the voltmeter. The output here is given as input. So one thing you need to observe here is, always whenever we measure the current using an ammeter, ammeter is always connected in series in the circuit and a voltmeter is always connected across. Now across this voltmeter, we connect the LED, that is light emitting diode. So across the voltmeter, we are connecting the LED. And as I told, all the internal connections is there. So now the circuit is complete. We have this power supply, variable power supply, which we can vary using this potentiometer. We can vary it from 0 to 10 volts using this potentiometer. And we have the resistance here, an ammeter, the voltmeter, and then the LED which is connected. Now let us start. Switch on the power supply and vary the voltage. So what you need to understand here is, we are using a LED which is a PN junction diode. So whenever the electrons from the N try to come on to the P side, and there occurs a recombination of electrons with the holes. And as you all know that the electrons are at a higher potential or at a higher energy level, they always emit energy. So for that, when it emits energy, here when we are using LED, it emits it in the form of light. If we are using silicon or germanium, they emit light, they do not emit light, they emit it in the form of heat. So we use gallium arsenide or gallium phosphide as LEDs so that you can see the light and it is in the visible range. So we use a LED made of gallium arsenide. Now let us vary the voltage and note the potential. So we will start from 0. You can note down the voltmeter reading shows 0. So as we vary the voltage that is applied across the LED, 0.16, 0.17, 0.2, 0.3. You can vary it in steps of 0.1. What you observe here is, even though we are varying the voltage, the current is 0. This is because of the potential barrier that is formed between the junction. There is a barrier that is formed when the electrons try to cross the junction is obstruct and there is no flow. So as I told you, we have used the forward bias. When we have connected the positive of the LED to the positive, we are trying to push the electrons across the barrier with the help of this external supply. And as the external voltage increases, so you can keep on observing the voltage. Say 1.58. We can see there is current. There is a slight current that started flowing, means the potential barrier is slowly coming down. So we will now try to increase the voltage in steps. And as the potential barrier breaks at the threshold voltage is the voltage at which the potential barrier breaks down and the electrons can pass freely from the across the junction and there occurs recombination. And because of the recombination, there is emission of energy which you can see in the form of light. So this light glows as above the threshold frequency. And as you increase the voltage, now there will be a steep rise in current. 1.7, you see 0.6, 1.7. So as we vary the voltage, you can see now there is a steep rise in current. Initially it was increasing very slowly, but after the threshold voltage, once the barrier is broken, the increase in current is very steep. So we will be noting down the readings for different voltages and current. Yes, let us have a quick recap of what we have seen. We have connected the light emitting diode as shown in the circuit diagram, and we have slowly increased the forward bias voltage in steps of 0.1 volt. We are varying the voltage here with the help of the potentiometer we have varied, and note down the current through the LED. Whatever current that is flowing through the LED we are noting. Now increase the voltage in steps of 0.05 volt and note down the corresponding current values. So as you go up above, because the current increases rapidly, we will now try to increase it slowly. Then plot a graph for voltage versus current. So we are going to plot a graph for voltage along the x-axis and the values of current along the y-axis. And then from the graph, we need to note down the threshold voltage. What is threshold voltage here? The voltage at which the current starts flowing. It starts increasing rapidly, because initially when you increase the voltage, there is not much increase in current, because the charge carriers need energy to cross over the junction. So only at the threshold frequency or at the threshold voltage, you have this rise in current, sharp rise in current. So we call it as threshold voltage. After calculating that, we can also calculate the forward resistance using the formula RF is equal to delta V upon delta I. Using this formula, we can also calculate the forward resistance. Now this is the graph. So voltage is taken along the x-axis. This is the x-axis, and current along the y-axis, and current here is in milliampere. So for every value of voltage, we will plot the graph for the corresponding current, and the graph, the model graph is something like this. Means if you see here initially, when the voltage is 0, the current is 0. But slowly as you increase the voltage in this region, there is very small rise in current. Even though the voltage increases, the current increases very slowly. But at a particular voltage, if you see this point, this corresponds to the threshold voltage. This way, where the current starts increasing rapidly, we call it as the threshold voltage. This corresponds to the threshold voltage. And if you see, you are increasing the voltage, but within this region itself, the current is becoming maximum. Within a short increase in voltage, the current is becoming maximum. So this will be the graph you will be observing when you plot it. Now let us see the tabular column. We are increasing the voltage 0, 1, 1.6, 1.65, 1.7 and so on in steps of 0.05, and then we have increased it. Now let us see the current. Current here is in ampere. We will denote it as V. This is V and this is I. So you will also note down the values of current and plot the graph as I have shown. Now we'll see one sample calculation, how to calculate the value of RF. So we will take V1 as 1.7 and V2 as 1.75. I1 is 0.16 and I2 as 0.45. This is from the tabular column, or you can take it from the graph also. 1.775. So the corresponding values we'll take. If this is V1 and this is V2, this is I1 and I2. This you can take from the graph also. So now how do we calculate? So RF is equal to V2 minus V1 upon I2 minus I1. So RF is equal to 1.75 minus 1.7 upon I2 here is 0.45 minus 0.16. Since this is in milliampere, we'll convert it into ampere by writing 10 power minus 3. So what we get here is RF is equal to 0.05, and this 10 power minus 3, if it comes up, it is 10 power 3 upon, we have 0.45 minus 0.16, which gives us 0.1724 into 10 power 3 ohms. So we can adjust it and write it as, we can shift the decimal place and write it as 172.4 ohms. So this is the forward resistance. And the voltage, what we were talking about is, see, at this point, here the increase in current is very slow. But at this point, if you see, after 1.75, the current increases very much. So we write that VTH is also the threshold voltage at which the sharp rise in current takes place. So we will also note down the threshold voltage. So after studying the LED characteristics, we are noting down the threshold voltage, and this threshold voltage is different for different LEDs. So if we are taking a LED which is red in color, so it is around 1.75 to 1.78. You may do the experiment or repeat the experiment with different colors of LED. You may use a green LED or a white LED. So this wavelength, this threshold voltage will vary if you are varying the LED. Now the forward resistance we have calculated is 172.41. This we are calling as the forward resistance. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.